In this video, I'm going to show you how to use some of the new text features added in Qimage 1 2022. Let's start by reviewing what text features we already had. If we go ahead and add a print, one of the things we could do is add print information. Right now it's turned off, but if we turn on EXIF data for the print, or we could see the full path, we can see that the text appears underneath the print. This will happen for every print that we add to the job, and we can control the position of the text and also the font and the color. The first new feature we've added is the ability to add a unique text annotation to every print. So if we click on one of the prints here, this one on the left, if we right click on the live view, we can select this new option here, Add Text Annotation. We can also use Command T. This edit box will now appear and we can type directly onto the live view. Notice that the color and the font for the text matches that which is defined in the print info. So if we go over to print info and make the text align to the left, you will see the text updated over here. In a similar way, I can select this image, select Command T, and enter text for this print. You can predefine the text that you want to appear as the annotation. For instance, if you wanted to label a lot of prints with the same information, if you go into the Qimage 1 preferences, you can enable the field here to apply a global text annotation, type the text that you want, and now as I add new prints, you can see that that is what appears under each print. You can also then go in and edit it and change it to something else. You also don't need to have the print info on to be able to use text annotation. So if I go back here and turn print info off, notice that the text annotations I have added stay behind with the prints. As I move prints around, text annotations go with them. You can also change the text annotation of multiple prints. If I right click and select all the prints and then hold Command T, if I change this message to say something different, notice that all the text annotation of the selected prints is changed. Now I'm going to remove everything from the job and show you how to use floating text, which gives you even more control. I'm going to go ahead and add one print. Let's turn off our global annotation here. If you want to get rid of the text that's already on a print, you can just delete it like this. Now for floating text, we have a new set of controls down here at the bottom of the Prints tab. And you can see that we have a control to add text. And just like with print info and with text annotation, we can control the alignment of the text, the font. We also have new controls for angle and shadow, which I'll get to in just a moment. Now, before we add some text, I'm just going to reset some of these controls, which we'll get to in a moment. And I'm going to deselect this print. Now, like with the text annotation, we have a control down here on the right click menu to add floating text, or we can click the plus button here on the floating text controls. And when we do that, notice we get prompted to click to place text down here, and that the cursor has a little T next to it to show that you're inserting text. So if I click on the live view, you'll see that we have a control which has appeared, and it looks very similar to the text annotation at first. Except you'll notice that if I click on this print and I move it, it's now not associated with this print. It's actually just associated with the page. And you can also see that the control runs the whole length of the page, and we have the central alignment selected down here. Now I can click on this to select it, this little anchor point which turns blue, and now when I change the controls down here, we can change the alignment of the text. We can also come in here and change the font. We can make this bold, we can make it a little bit larger. And you can see that that's updated on the live view. So with this text selected, we can resize the box that the text is in. We can move it around on the screen. We can type in here to actually make it say what we want to. And we can also apply the other options now. We can give the text an angle, say 45 degrees. We can also add a shadow. Now we can select a shadow color here by clicking on this button. We'll say like cyan. And we can give it a depth to make it something small, and you can see that there's another shadow appears behind the text. And again, it can be moved around, repositioned, however we like. Now, if you want to see how this will really look on your print, you want to get rid of the rulers, the guidelines, and the boxes around the text. Remember, you can always use the soft proof preview mode to see how things will look. Just as we can use the controls to set the exact left and top position of prints. So for instance, with this print, if I like it to be 4 inches from the left and 1 inch from the top, we can do the same with text. So I'm going to click the text here, I'm going to set its left position to 1 and its top position to exactly 7. This lets you position text exactly where you want it on the screen. Now I'm going to remove this piece of text, just drag it off the live view, and I'm going to go back into IntelliCenter mode, turn off freehand, and I'm going to show you another way you can add floating text, which can link the text with a print. Now, there's a couple of ways you can link text with a print. The easiest way is to select the print before you actually add the text. You can see here this print is selected, the outline is blue, and I'm going to change this back to center alignment, change this back to 0 degrees, I'm going to turn off the shadow. Now when I click on the add floating text, notice that where I click on the screen, the text has actually aligned itself to the print. It's still centered as I selected, but its bounds are now the size of the print, not the whole page. And more importantly, when I move the print around, the text moves with it. And if I rotate the print, the text stays in the same relative position. I can move the text itself, but it's still linked to the print. You can see the gray line here indicating this. So now when I move the print, the text again stays in the same relative position. Now, if you decide you don't want this text to be linked to the print anymore, you can simply click on the print or the text, and you see this indicator down here shows that the two are linked, and it's lit up. Well, if we click on this, now they're no longer linked, and we can move them independently. Which brings us to the other way you can link a print with a piece of text. If you select both of them by holding down the Command key, so now they're both highlighted, and you click on the link button, they are now linked together. And again, when I move the print, the text moves with it. You can link more than one piece of text to a print, and you can also add a copy of a print, and the text, if it has some, will be copied with it. So if I were to add a copy of this print right here, you see I get a copy of the text, and so on. Then I can edit each one independently. Just like with the text annotation, I can select multiple prints or multiple pieces of text, and if I change one of them, they all update. And then each one can be modified independently. I can move this one down here. I can change the font of this one if I like. Something different. So you have complete freedom over how the text is configured. Now the examples I've shown here mostly had the text outside of the print just to make it a little easier to read, but we can also get creative. And let's add our friend Rex here. Let's add some text to him. And we're going to go ahead and pick a color from his skin, make it a little interesting, find ourselves an interesting font, make it a little bigger, and then we're going to add his name. And again, I can select this, can move it around, change the width, change the angle, give it a bit of a shadow, maybe not the best color. Let's change this to something a little darker. And you can see you can completely customize the prints however you want them. So with the new floating text featuring Qimage 1, you can see that you can get really creative, add any text you want to your prints. You can design greetings cards, add copyright, whatever text you need to accompany your printed material. So we hope you have fun with the new feature in Qimage 1 2022. Thanks for watching.